I like to have my thoughts typed out before I say anything, because then I just ramble on. Okay, let me go ahead and pull up my stuff here. How's everyone doing, by the way? We doing good?
I'm
doing
tired.
Up and down.
Tired.
I'll be okay right now.
My
Okay.
day started at like 6:30 in the morning.
I just saw this tweet, so I was having a good day, but now I am not having a good day.
What is that? What is that?
Why?
You don't want the 10-foot tall Pikachu centipede plush?
What is
Wait,
that?
what?
Why?
Oh my God.
Everything about this.
Why does that exist?
One, this needs to be part of the cold open. Number two,
Caption.
Long
What
Peach.
was-
10-foot Pikachu centipede?
Jesus,
what was-
run. Oh my God.
what
I
was
love how
the
they get
pitch
longer,
meeting
too.
for this? It's the, all right, I have this concept. We need a new plush. Pikachu
don't-
centipede. Wait, what do you mean? Pikachu centipede.
They could have made
I
it
mean-
like long Meowth, but they made it like a caterpillar body. Why?
Okay, goodbye. Bye.
So weird. Welcome, everyone, to the second episode of our monthly podcast, officially titled All Stuff, No Fluff, where we talk about video games and stuff with friends on a monthly basis. This episode is actually about a week late due to it being a very busy week, busy few weeks, both for video games and for me personally. Joining me today, though, we have a few friends who have appeared on the channel before and some new faces. Just to make things quick, though, we're gonna go around the table here just to make things like a little bit faster pace. We have my friend Push Dustin here. Pleasure to have you back again, sir.
Nice to be here.
We also have David.
Yo, what's up?
Yeah, say hello, David. Hello. We've also got Clubhouse Games extraordinaire, Mr. Stealth.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, how's it going, dude? And we've also got Mr. Iconic Yoshi Hat,
Hello, humans. I'm Yo Schiller.
also known as the only person I know personally that has played Animal Crossing for nearly every day the past year.
31.
Jeez, you're so close,
That's
man.
impressive.
And to help us take those deep dives into all the things Zelda 35, we've also got wonderful friends of the show, both Amanda and Alex from Zelda Universe.
Hello.
Hello.
All right, so awesome. Thank you guys for joining me today. And so, to start things off, we have a lot to cover with this past month in gaming. So, why don't we kind of start things off with something pretty tame, and we'll share what all we've been playing this past month, starting with Push. What sort of games have you been getting into lately?
So lately, I've been actually playing non-Switch games. I feel like I'm probably breaking the podcast already, but I work with Q Games now, so we recently launched Pixel Junk Raiders, which is on Stadia, and then we also released an update for Frogger on Apple Arcade. So I've been playing a lot of those two games, and then also I have Xbox Game Pass, so I've been checking out older titles. Like I just checked out Super Hot the other day, and
Ooh, Game Pass
love-
is
Ooh,
so
that's a good one.
love
Super
me
Hot's
some Super
fun.
Hot.
Yeah, Game Pass is great too.
Oh, it really is. Honestly, it's like kind of impressive how good it is.
Yeah, Super
Yeah.
Hot too. I remember I played that game years ago and I loved it.
Yeah, and I played through Ukulele a little bit just yesterday, the Impossible Layer.
Oh, is that the second
Impossible
one?
There, yeah.
Yeah, the
Good
second
one.
one.
I
The,
played that one.
Is the second one good?
If you like Donkey Kong Country, like Tropical Freeze, I'd recommend it.
You want to know? Oh God, I did this last episode.
Oh, God, right.
You want to know something? I've never played Tropical Freeze all the way through either. Oh man, we're starting things off rough. All right, and then we can kind of just go around the table after that. So whoever wants to go next and tell us what they've been playing recently.
Yeah, I can go. So I actually 2 days ago, my roommate got an Oculus Quest 2, and I've been thinking about getting
Ooh.
one, but I was like, I'm gonna hold off. But then he was just like, I want one, so I'm gonna get one. So he got one, and I was playing like a little bit of Beat Saber on there, of course, and then I was also playing like this game called Rec Room, which is pretty much like VR chat, but it's like a little more tame, and they have more like organized games and stuff on there. So I was checking that out for about like 2-3 hours, and then I was like, you know what? Yeah, I want one. So I literally immediately just left and went to Best Buy and bought my own. So now we both have our own Oculus Quest 2 VR headsets. And I have been enjoying being in the VR verse. It is a whole different vibe entirely. So I've been really enjoying that. I thought about playing Super Hot again because I played through it on Game Pass like Push Justin has. But I was thinking about playing it on VR because that's a whole different feeling entirely. And then also there's this game on there called Echo Arena VR, which is pretty much zero gravity, like Tron Frisbee soccer,
Ooh.
where it's like you can use like jet propulsors on your arms and you can like fly around. And you can also like punch people in the face to like stun them, and you can also it's like there's like this Tron Frisbee disc that you're trying to like throw into this floating goal, and it's like a really huge zero gravity like arena with like walls and like blocks floating around and stasis you can grab onto. It's really crazy. So I've been like in my living room just moving around like a crazy person, just playing that for hours on end. And also playing lots of Among Us VR and VR chat with like random strangers.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
that's a
nice.
thing.
So really fun. Hmm.
So you mentioned Beat Saber. I feel like that's such a essential title for anybody that has a
Essential,
VR
yes.
headset. But the thing that people don't tell you about that game that I feel like gets under-recognized is how much of a workout it can be.
Yeah, that's the
Especially on
main
the
reason my
harder
roommate got it,
difficulties,
yeah.
you're like flailing your
Mhm.
arms around, moving around, and then in the 360 mode too, you're just like using the whole room and everything. It's wild, and if you play it long enough, it'll be like a little mini workout in itself.
Yeah, like I've only played Beat Saber in short bursts at like conventions and the game rooms that they have, if they have a VR headset and stuff. But having your own where you can just play as much as you want. Oh yeah,
Mhm.
I've been sweating. I've been sweating a lot. Mhm.
Well, that's cool. A bunch of VR stuff. I like it. What about you, Amanda?
I have been playing some Animal Crossing, and just because I've needed something chill to play. And I've also played some Fire Emblem Three Houses because I never finished all 4 routes. So I finished the Edelgard route. So now I've done all 4. And those have been the 2 main ones I've been playing. For Zelda's 35th anniversary, I started playing the original Legend of Zelda. I
Yeah,
need to
remember that.
finish it. I think I got to like the 5th or 6th dungeon, and I just need to go back and finish it.
Nice. So,
But I'm having a lot of fun playing it.
you know, I don't think I ever fully beat that one either. That was actually really cool though.
The original Zelda is a feat to play with no guide.
No, yeah,
Like, I don't even-
it is relentlessly difficult without a guide. And I was the one that wrote the guide for Zelda Universe for Zelda 1. So, like, trying to figure out a way to, like, handle that was a trial. I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
The fact that I was able to find at least half the dungeons on my own, I was very proud of myself.
And you should be.
A
Dude,
couple of them
retro
I just bugged
games,
my
man.
husband. I'm going, okay, you played this game when it was new. Where's this next dungeon?
And then he says something like, "Yeah, you got to move that rock right there,
Yeah.
up and then over." And you're
Ex-
like, "How was I supposed to ever know to do that?"
Exactly
Yeah.
that, and like
Have you
going
tried
through the
bombing
Lost
the wall?
Woods.
Hmm.
Man, retro games were built different.
Yup.
They were.
But the whole time playing it, I was just imagining like what it would have been like if I played it before guides were readily available, and just being able to talk about the game with friends and going, hey, did you know if you do this in Zelda, you can get to this part of the game? And I was just thinking how cool that would have been.
Games in the 80s must have been a trip, because it's like, this game costs $60. Oh, but you want to know how to play it? That'll be $30 extra. That's part of the reason why I couldn't get into Zelda for the longest time, was because of stuff like that. And I get that back in the day, that type of stuff is cool, but I do appreciate that they made it more simplified for the newbies like me. Because otherwise I don't know that I ever would have gotten into it.
Yeah.
I guess I'll jump in, though. I've been playing Animal Crossing every day for an hour.
Honestly, I'm
Sounds
so
so
impressed.
defeated.
That is actually worth
I'm
its own
defeated
praise.
because I have been trying to catch 50 fish, 40 bugs, and 20 deep sea creatures every day to try and clear certain Nook Miles achievements by the end of the series, and that's just been falling apart. And then I also was playing the game in Japanese throughout the month of February because I'm trying to learn the language. And I figure, well, I play Animal Crossing every day. Maybe if I play the game in Japanese, I'll better familiarize myself with the letters. And that kind of worked, but that doesn't change the fact that I can't translate what some of the words say. So it kind of turns Animal Crossing into a horror game, and you never really know what's going to happen when someone asks you a multiple choice question. And so I would wake up the next day and play Animal Crossing, and I'm like, who are you? How'd you move into this island? Who did I get rid of? Not Stu! No, Stu! So
that kind of shakes things up a little bit, though, right?
I mean, it does, but it also kind of slows the pace down. And when I'm trying to catch 50 fish, 40 bugs, and 20 deep sea creatures, I can't keep reading like Aka aori ra go me or something like that. That probably was gibberish. It probably doesn't mean anything, but it slows the pace down. But I am enjoying my time with the game. It's still fun to play with friends and all. Otherwise, most of the games I've been playing have been for video recording purposes. I did buy Persona 5 Strikers for my own leisure, but I haven't played it yet. I'm just trying to get a bunch of my stuff done before Monster Hunter Rise comes out because I actually made a promise to my friends that I would get it after they assisted me with stuff in Animal Crossing. So that comes out toward the end of the month, so I got to get all my work done before that happens, and we'll see how that plays out.
Strikers and Rise. You're going to be a busy man.
I haven't even beaten Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity yet, and I gotta do that. And I'm on the last level of 3D World with my friends, and somehow it's gonna get done. I don't know how, I don't know when, but it will eventually get done. I do like games, I do, but I'm busy. That's why I sound tired.
I relate to that in a spiritual level. You know what's funny? I think the last time I played Animal Crossing was when I played with you and Cody Yashiller.
Oh, that was like months ago, though.
I know. That's the thing. So I relate to I swear I play games, I'm just busy to like the zenith degree.
I understand.
I guess I'll start. So I've been playing a handful of stuff recently. I just started Twilight Princess on the GameCube, for Twitch, which I played Twilight Princess on HD. That's actually the only way I finished it because I hadn't figured out how to get past the Skulltulas because I am annoyingly arachnophobic and also a fantasy fan.
Yeah, the ones in there are kind of gross.
Oh, they're terrible. And I only in HD was where I figured out my strategy of, okay, don't look at the screen, L target, button mash, done. But I had never, it's super effective, it turns out.
Yeah, I get it. Especially with the GameCube.
Exactly. But I never played the GameCube version. I had the Wii version, and I heard from a couple other people that I sort of follow that the GameCube version had some problems.
Mm-hmm.
So I found somebody who was selling it. I bought it, and I've been playing it. Honestly, it's fine. I've had no problems with it. I've been playing that, some Dead by Daylight with some friends because, man, I didn't realize how fun Dead by Daylight was with friends, but it really is quite fun.
Oh, yeah, if you have the right group of friends, yeah.
Yeah, and then after the Pokemon Direct, I finally got off my ass and finished Pokemon Let's Go. Because, which is like the first Pokemon game I think I've beaten since 2011.
Nice.
Which is sad, but I'm just bad at beating games. I'll get through a part of a game and be like, I'm having fun, and then another game will come out, and then I'll play that, and then I'll just forget to go back.
Yeah, man, it's a vicious cycle. There's so many.
It's a full-time job.
It's a problem. And so I actually now have a note on my phone that's literally what games have I actually beaten this year. And so far I have,
Wait,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games on that so far.
Nice.
So,
Nice.
That's
then it's
impressive.
Yeah, that is actually.
Yeah, people forget that adults don't have, all the time to play video games.
Granted, I was quarantined for part of that, but it's fine.
Wow, that's actually impressive. I need to start one of those notes myself.
I need to do that too.
The only reason why
really
I started
cool
doing
to go
it.
back and look.
The only reason why I started doing it is that I did at the very end of the year, I did a stream with a couple of friends talking about what we played, and everyone else had notes, and I didn't. And was well.
That was a light bulb moment.
Yep, that was it.
You know, I need to do that because otherwise I'm just going to go, I could play this, or I could go back and play another route in Fire Emblem Three Houses.
I do the same thing with the Ocarina of Time randomizers, so I feel.
All right, and then lastly, what about you, Mr. Stealth?
So I have been pretty addicted to Bravely Default 2.
I've been reading about your experience.
Yeah, I started playing today at about 7 a.m. and I only stopped about 5 minutes before recording this.
He's just like, you guys are breaking my
God.
time.
Wow. Now that's a gamer right there. That's awesome. So you've just been playing
really
mostly
loves
just the
it.
Bravely Default 2?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have time to really play video games during the weekday, so during the weekend I go crazy. And yeah, I have to remind myself that I need to eat.
Ah, the good old days.
You know he loves us because he totally could just be playing at the same time while doing the podcast, grinding levels.
Also true. We don't know if he is or not. That is a good question.
Can't prove that he's not.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You'll never know.
Well, I guess I'll go ahead and round things off here. So lately, for me, I've been really trying to break into my backlog of games, like we've been talking about for everyone else's lists. Currently, I feel like I'm on the cusp of finishing Persona 5 Royal. We talked about this last month. I feel like I'm so close, but that's just a guess. I'm at 100+ hours at this point, and I'm loving it. Other than that, though, I've also recently played through a little bit of the demo of Project Triangle Strategy, which
right.
I am really loving. And much like Octopath Traveler, it is just beautiful and gorgeous, and I can tell I'm really going to like it. And just a few more things just to kind of quickfire before we get into our major topics here. I also booted up Animal Crossing for the first time in a hot minute, like a week ago, just to kind of pop in and see all of their birthday celebrations. It was really cute and precious, and I loved it. And most recently, I put a good number of hours into streaming Pyra and Mithra in Smash Brothers. Love those two.
Fun.
It's so like their gameplay is just so fluid, and they really just feel like a character I'm just gonna grow super attached to in the long run. They're fantastic. So, seems like a pretty busy month for a lot of us. Now, transitioning into the games we're currently waiting to play, because there's a lot of stuff coming that is worth looking forward to thanks to this past month's Nintendo Direct and Pokemon Presents. Gosh, it's still wild
And
to think
State of
Play. Those things happen literally within 2 weeks of each other. That's so wild. And State of Play, though. That is a good point.
I'm done with like video game announcements for like the next month and a half. No one else announce anything, please. I can't handle keeping up.
Take me off this wild ride. Anyway, there's been a lot of stuff to talk about between those two things and some others. And one of the big takeaways from this past month's Nintendo Direct was Zelda. So let's go ahead and I guess just charge headfirst into Zelda's 35th anniversary. Now, some of us were here last month talking about this event and what we were all expecting from it. And now that mostly everything is out and in the world from Nintendo, it seems like most of us might have possibly overestimated exactly what Nintendo has planned for this year, as, at least for now, the only thing we're really getting from it is the re-release of Skyward Sword in HD and a cool new set of Joy-Con, which are really cool, I might add. Now, for me personally, I was almost expecting more from a celebration for this. As much as I love Skyward Sword and getting to see it in HD is such a delight, this seemed like the perfect opportunity to bring more of, apologies to Alex and Amanda in advance, but a good opportunity to bring more of Zelda's universe onto the Switch, and using that expanded library to further push the Switch as the premier place to play Zelda games, especially after the launch of Breath of the Wild 2 in the future as well. So I'm curious, we'll go ahead and start with you two. What are your thoughts on Nintendo's handling of Zelda's 35th, and do you think we'll be seeing more later on in the year?
First of all, how dare you for that joke?
I put that in my notes. I just giggled to myself. I just had to.
Nice.
Amanda, do you want to start?
Yeah, so when Skyward Sword originally came out, if I remember correctly, it came out like in the fall or early winter of
November 2011.
Yeah,
I
so it was
believe.
2011. So that was still the 25th anniversary, but the 25th anniversary game didn't come out until much later. And I think they're still trying to get all the Pokemon hype done and get all like the Mario 35th anniversary hype done before they even start into the Zelda stuff, because since it was the 25th anniversary wasn't even celebrated until like the second half of the year with the Goddess concert wasn't even, I think, until the following year, if I remember correctly.
I think they
So
started that at E3 2011, and it was like, so that was at that point like early June.
Right. And I mean, that was like halfway through the year already. So I imagine we'll get more Zelda stuff later on. It will just be, we won't hear about it until probably closer to the summer.
Yeah, that's sort of the thought I had, because the other thing too was that Aonuma said we will have more info on the Breath of the Wild sequel later this year. If with that knowledge in itself, like, they're not just going to have a thing where they're just talking about that sequel, because especially because of what's been happening, and we're almost done with the Mario 35th stuff. They have to deal with all the Pokemon things. They dealt with their Post Malones.
That was so weird.
Which that can be another topic in a second.
Oh,
but,
yeah, it definitely can be.
You know, with Mario also rounding out their fiscal year, they want to now have the wiggle room of, all right, let's make the rest of this year and the beginning of our fiscal year just be, let's get all of like Pokemon out of the way, get some of that stuff ready, and then let's go hard on all the Zelda knowledge and Zelda news. Because when the Direct got announced, Amanda and I immediately jumped on a phone call and we're just like spitballing plans and ideas, because it was kind of an all hands on deck, like 48 hours.
Yeah.
That honestly, I'm kind of proud of how it turned out.
We handled it really
went
well.
Really well.
We had basically had kind of drills for it anyways, of like what to do in the event of like a shadow drop, what to do in the event of Nintendo having like a Nintendo Direct and announcing something. So we already had like plans in the back of our mind of how we were going to handle something like this. So yeah, it was kind of like we were having drills regularly. Yeah,
and
like,
we had a day warning, which was great. So when the announcements happened, we were ready pretty much, which was great.
Yeah.
But like, we were talking about all the specific things that could have come out of it, because Nintendo started not even reissuing and renewing trademarks, making new ones into a lot of countries, like trademark and copyright sort of like, I'll say archive. I don't know what word I'm thinking of. I'm just going to use that one. Where it was new trademarks coming through, which if it was just, you know, making sure it was still up, they would have just done a renewal, not a new one, which tipped a lot of people off of, that means there's something possibly there. So, because they did that with Skyward Sword, Majora's Mask, Twilight Princess, Wind Waker, and Ocarina, I believe. I think.
Yeah, I think that was. Hearing. Yeah, I know Ocarina for sure. I know Ocarina and Majora's Mask definitely were on there.
So
I remember reporting on it.
Yeah, I feel like we could definitely see more stuff. It's at this point the matter of, is that legitimately what they're working on? Because with Nintendo, you can never really tell. And then more of, well, if that's happening this year, what's the time frame? Because in the traditional Nintendo announcement cycle, their next announcement is E3 period. Which
like the
doesn't
summer,
exist
like
anymore, really. Yeah. And we don't know that's going to stay the same now. So it's kind of a mix. Or they do their own Zelda Direct. Or they'll do what they did with Paper Mario and Hyrule Warriors and say nothing, and then just push out a video one day and cause me to have an aneurysm.
Those surprise drops bring me great stress.
Oh my god, it's unbelievably stressful. The Age of Calamity demo, like, was full on just, oh, well, guess this is today then.
Yeah, I like woke up from a nap and saw like new Zelda. Okay, well that was unexpected.
Yeah. Like, as someone that has to make content, it's like the biggest stress.
Yeah, that is true. And I think to what Alex said earlier regarding the Zelda 35th and like just the general plans for the year, I think that actually does make sense, where we get like Skyward Sword now, fiscal year ends, and then in that time slot of summertime, before the big Pokemon craze at the end of the year, whenever the Sinnoh remakes come out, it makes sense to sort of slot another big release from, like, say, the Zelda 35th anniversary into that time slot, so that we have at least a pretty steady stream of good games throughout the year. So to your point, I think that definitely makes sense, and that's something I guess I just really didn't think about until you said it.
No, is also Pokemon is kind of on its own to a point where Zelda wouldn't really compete with it anyway, I feel like, because they're both big games. They're different
Pokemon's
enough.
like a monolith franchise.
It is.
In general, yeah.
And so it'll do something regardless, and I don't know if I would consider it major competition. I know I, for one, am probably the only person on Zelda Universe that was happy we didn't get Breath of the Wild 2 information that direct, because I would have had an aneurysm. We were not ready to cover it, period.
Yeah, I mean, news coverage aside, I wasn't really even expecting to hear anything, like in the first half of this year, to be honest.
No, it's a pandemic. People, everything got delayed, and after seeing Cyberpunk happen with how it is, I don't care how long a game it takes to make. Just make it good.
We talked about this last month too, but I think this is the year where we're probably going to start seeing the effects of working from home. Definitely. And like, the game releases are going to thin out a little bit, as well as some other things. And I feel like some people aren't just going to be privy to that knowledge or that understanding. So going into this year, like, knowing that at the back of my head, I feel like it's going to give me a totally different perception than what you see some of the online reactions to the past Nintendo Direct, as we've been talking about. So, anybody else have any thoughts about Zelda 35 before we move on and dive into the rest of the titles in the
I just wanted to say one thing is that Nintendo does finish titles early. Like, they're sitting on games that they haven't even announced yet, and that they'll just they could just release at any time.
I hope so.
And so, like, if you look at the way that they've been doing their releases, it's like a game almost every month. There's like a major release from Nintendo every month, and like I'm sure like the Paper Mario Origami, the Mario 35th, those were all finished way before they were announced, and Nintendo.
Yeah, that's true.
So like I wouldn't worry, like Nintendo is working on stuff. There's still people employed by the company, hundreds of people employed by the company, and we'll still get announcements. We'll still get releases, things that this year that we didn't even think could happen, probably.
Yeah, I think they do still have some cards up their sleeve that we just don't know about. Like,
absolutely.
Pokemon Legends was one of them, but we'll talk about that a little bit later.
And
Nintendo doesn't like also putting their cards out, so makes sense.
Yeah.
I wanted to say, and I said this last time, I don't think we're going to get a Zelda 35th anniversary in the same vein as Super Mario 35th anniversary. I get that Legend of Zelda's
not.
big. I did not even think we were going to get a Skyward Sword remake. I'm glad we are. But I do have to say that probably is the extent of it. That and the Joy-Cons, that's probably it. I don't think we're going to get, Super Nintendo World with a bunch of Zelda stuff. I don't think we're going to get Zelda 3D All-Stars. I don't think we're going to get any of that. Although, I was wrong
take that
about
back, sir.
I'm not going to take it back, but I was wrong about my predictions in the last conversation we had. And I think that's going to be precedent for the very next thing we're going to talk about, which I assume is Pokemon. Or am I wrong about that?
They're not going to do a 3D All-Stars for one reason alone, because they want to sell each one on its own.
Yep.
That's what they're going to do. They're not going to do a collection. They're going to make you get all three.
They might could do a collection though with some of the 2D games.
Maybe. I doubt it. I highly doubt it.
I don't think we're going to get a big celebratory thing for Zelda this year. I really don't.
It won't be on the same scale.
Mario is their mascot, so they have to go hard with that.
Yeah. As much as I love a Zelda decorated eShop and whatever else, like, like, was it like ice cream too? Like so much other Mario
ice cream
promotional stuff.
I forgot that was a thing.
And there was cereal. Wasn't there cereal?
The cereal, the Splatfests, and the shoes, and we're not getting all that. I'm sorry. At least if we're gonna get that, that'll be at like the 40th anniversary. But it's not gonna be this year, I'm afraid.
I feel like
God, we're gonna be
Zelda
old.
is just like, it has a higher level of quality that needs to be there. Where it's like, yeah, Mario can go on cereal. Zelda, too good for cereal. We got to go harder.
That's the quote of the day. Zelda, too good for cereal.
True.
Put that on my business card.
I don't know. If I
Alright.
had some Zelda Reese's Puffs, I'd be pretty happy.
So, drawing more from this past direct, we also got confirmation of a few more titles too. One of the big hitters that we were talking about also, and certainly one of the most unexpected for me, was the official reveal of Splatoon 3. This is a game we all kind of figured was being worked on, but it felt like no one really had a read on the scope or direction this game was going, especially considering Nintendo had still been simultaneously running Splatfests for the past year, even though they said they were done with Final Fest back in 2019. Speaking of Final Fest, though, it seems as though this game is giving us a good little preview of exactly what the impact of that Splatfest's results will have on the game. You know, the trailer starts out very Borderlands, Mad Maxy. There are signs of old structures that seem to be rusted over and abandoned. And even the main character shrouds himself in this sort of cloak and mask at the beginning, adding on to that air of mystery. Personally, this game seems like a bigger jump to me, though, than its predecessor, or from its predecessor than
100%,
Splatoon
yeah.
1 to 2 was. So things like new weapons, new maps, hairstyles, and what I can only assume is either a new or improved engine, and a huge focus on story this time around. So to me, Splatoon 3 strikes me as the next evolution in how we all perceive and play Splatoon, and I'm here for it. But that's just what I think, though. What is everyone else really thinking about it?
I have a lot
I
to
would
say,
like
so
to
I'm probably go
claim
last.
this one.
I can either
Okay.
go first or
I
I
was
can go
like- I
last.
would
It's
like
up
to-
to you guys. But I have a lot
I'd like to
say.
claim this one because I remember last episode I was the one who had like one of the major dreams was like a Splatoon 3 thing.
You
And
did.
this was checking my boxes. We don't know a lot of specifics, but this is going crazy so far. Like Splatoon, like you said, the jump from 1 to 2 was like, okay, this is just a new Splatoon. But this, like, on the tail end of Splatoon 2, we had the Octo expansion, and that was Nintendo pushing the envelope of what they can do with the Splatoon universe and their storytelling and their all that stuff in terms of single player content. And I am looking forward to seeing what they do with Splatoon 3. And then it even looks like the multiplayer is getting a little bit of an overhaul in terms of like, instead of like spawning on the map, now you're flying in on like espresso machines that fly.
Yeah, the
And then you like
animations are
launch
so
down
clean.
onto the map. It looks crispy, like the visuals look really good.
Mm-hmm.
The music's gonna be OP as usual. And then, like I mentioned before, I remember specifically, I was like, okay, now the Salmonids are gonna be the new antagonists, which I'm assuming is true because now we got a little buddy who's like a little Salmonid pet, like
Yeah.
side character, assist character thing. And you also get to choose if you want to be Octoling or Inkling in the beginning. And there's
That
a
is so
lot
nice.
more customization options from the jump. This is gonna be great. It's 2022, but I'm like, give it all the time you need, Nintendo.
Yeah.
I just wanna, oh, it's gonna be great.
Yeah, no, it looks fantastic.
Yeah, I actually did play Splatoon a lot at the beginning. Multiplayer, I just was never very good at, but Salmon Run, like I was addicted
Same.
to Salmon Run. That was just a super fun feature.
Yeah, so
that was
fun.
just an amazing like mode that I played a lot. And regarding Splatoon 3, Nintendo's been doing this like one major game in a series per system thing. So I just always assumed like obviously Splatoon 3 was going to happen. I just didn't think it was going to happen on Switch. I just thought it was going to happen whatever the next system was, 3 years down the line. I wasn't expecting a sequel on Switch. That was the surprising part, not that a sequel was happening.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean it looks pretty crazy from like just the little bit that we saw. Visually, it just I think I don't know who did it, but there was a comparison between the hub area of 3 for the brief images that we saw, and then 2, and the level of detail in the hub area in this new game is just outrageous. It looks really, really good.
Yeah, this game looks fantastic, and it totally blindsided me too. Like I had no expectations that this game would be on Switch at all.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like even how fast they're able to flip Splatoon in terms of like new installments with new upgrades. Because I saw a post going around. There were people who were just like, "You telling me we ain't got Mario Kart 9, but we've had 3 Splatoons in the same time frame?"
Jeez.
So-
We have Mario Kart 9.
You
It's called
know,
Mario
We
Kart
have Mario
Live Home
Kart
Circuit.
Tour.
You
know, you're right,
Oh,
though.
yeah.
It's hurtful, but you're right.
Yeah.
Understand that the team that works on Mario Kart is in-house Nintendo. And although you don't want to call Mario Kart Live or Mario Kart Tour Mario Kart 9, those are the teams that are, or at least part of them, are being devoted to working on those games. So that is probably why we haven't had Mario Kart 9 yet.
You're right.
The rest of the team is probably being put on things like Animal Crossing or Splatoon 3 or Pikmin 4 maybe, stuff like that. So
yeah.
I don't think it's fair to complain about that. And what we should actually be doing is be excited that they are still pumping out quality games.
Mario Kart Tour is one of my most played mobile games. 100%.
All right.
But I'm just like, I want to see this. I want to see it on my TV. But yeah, I really just, there's like a couple things I really want from Splatoon 3 though. I want to be able to skip the beginning. I don't care about seeing these announcements, or let me fast forward it like we could with Sheldon in the store in 2.
Oh yeah.
Also, put in a mass map rotation. I don't want to have to be stuck on 2 maps for 2 hours. Mm-hmm. And then also let me do Salmon Run whenever I want to.
Yeah,
that's
mainly
all
I
want.
Salmon Run all the time would be great.
And more Salmon Run maps.
And also
too.
maybe like more Salmon Run maps. And then also maybe with I know like one of the big late game metas for Splatoon was like getting those emblems for your gear and like getting pure gear, right?
Oh yeah,
like re-rolling stuff. If they could make that more efficient in the third game, that would be a lot better. Because I was like, I love these, like some of the outfits I had, but it's like I didn't like the perks they had, and I didn't like that you had to do Splatfest to get the resources to re-roll, and then hope that you got the things that you got, and then you had to like grind to put them onto gear and get pure gear. It was a whole thing. But if they can make that a little bit more streamlined, that'd be much appreciated.
Especially if they plan on bringing it into a competitive scene, to be competitive in that game, you have to be willing to put in that time and effort into like re-rolling slots for your gear, and it's just a really, really invested process. So to your point, I think if they made it more streamlined, that'd be really nice. So does anybody else have any thoughts before Yoshiller lays it on us?
I played Splatoon 2 for a whole 2 hours, and that's it. So I saw it and I'm like, cool. It's a thing.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't Splatoon 2 also have like a kind of rhythm minigame thing?
It did.
Oh yeah, it was like a little side.
Yeah, I definitely I remember just really enjoying that. So I hope they bring that back.
I never
they also had like those
2. I played the first one and really enjoyed it, but I never played the second one.
You've never played
great.
Splatoon 2? Wow.
I played a decent amount of Splatoon, bought the second one, played it for I think 4 hours maybe total, and that was pretty much it. I did get sort of updated on certain things, and I did hear the Splatfest stuff were ending at some point. I thought they were actually ending this year. I thought.
Supposedly they're done after the Mario one, which was in January.
Yeah. Yeah. Even though 3 comes out next year, it's still a good time to jump into 2 because that game is still active.
Yeah.
It is.
I mean, the multiplayer is active, and the single player content's still really good.
And it's really good.
I gotta say, if you play any part of Splatoon 2, please play the Octo expansion. That's
so good.
That expansion in itself is just so good.
Funny thing about that is, so my girlfriend got the Octo expansion, and she gets gamer rage when she plays things. So she got the Octo expansion, and sometimes I'll just hear her, just on the couch playing her Switch, and she's just swearing up a storm. And I'm like, "What are you? Oh, you're playing the Octo expansion." She's like, "Yes."
That's how I am.
I have no comments about Splatoon. I like the game. I haven't really played the second one that much, but the multiplayer I just couldn't really get into. So, I think the third one looks fantastic. I hope it does well.
For sure.
I'm ready for this hot take, Yoshiller. I'm ready for it.
The floor is yours.
I am a Splatoon super fan. In the truest sense, was there from the beginning when they unveiled it at E3 2014. I played it there, and I was part of the brand ambassadors that got to help promote the game, and I love it. All right.
Mm-hmm.
I am so excited for Splatoon 3, and I think we all knew that it was going to happen eventually. There were comments about, oh, it's weird that they're doing it on the same system, but then I have to question, well, why would that be weird? Pokemon's had major games released on the same system, and we already know Breath of the Wild 2 is coming out on the same system, and both Breath of the Wild and Splatoon released in the same year. So it shouldn't be weird that Splatoon 3 is coming out on the same system. And under normal circumstances, I would think that doing this type of thing, a game with a big multiplayer focus, would kind of cannibalize sales of the previous game. But I guess it has been 4 years. Splatoon 2 has probably already peaked and plateaued in terms of sales. So I think now's the time. And I'm particularly excited for this game because the second Splatoon 2, is cool. I'm very impressed that Nintendo got it out as quickly as they did. Maybe they were originally going to port Splatoon to the Switch, but then they decided after a few months of development that it should just be a sequel. But even then, they really expanded the world so much in such a short amount of time that when you're telling me they're going to do a third game, and they're again going to expand this world and continue where things are going to go, that excites me. Because Splatoon does have cool story, it does have cool lore, and it's one of the few games I can think of where you can play exclusively for the multiplayer or exclusively for the single player and still get your money's worth. Very few games ever do that for me, but Splatoon does. I'm
that's a good
also
point.
particularly excited to see how Nintendo's going to market it because, as I already stated earlier in this conversation, they had a huge marketing thing with the original Splatoon, and while it wasn't as big, they did have a big marketing push for Splatoon 2 as well. It had its own individual directs. They actually had to do an ARMS direct, and then at the end say, oh, and there's also a trailer for Splatoon 2, so everyone would tune in and check out what ARMS was and then watch the Splatoon 2 trailer. So I'm hoping something similar happens for Splatoon 3. I don't know if it's going to because the world's still shut down right now. But I'm hoping that when things open back up, Nintendo's like, all right! And then they rub their hands together and they're like, let's do a bunch of Splatoon 3 promotional stuff. You know,
Dude, the concerts with the like Callie and Marie and Off the Hook.
Right.
Those
Those
look
are
so
so
fun.
dope.
Thing.
I love those. I love those.
I feel like I noticed that after Hatsune Miku became like a big thing, and Nintendo was like, "Hey, we can do that. Let's do it."
Dude, it was done so well too. It's literally the same exact tech they used for the Miku concerts.
Yeah. It's like the Nintendo nerds and the weebs shaking hands and being like, yes, this is a concept we both enjoy.
So they probably could do something for Splatoon 3. We don't know who like the big marketed characters are going to be, like Pearl and Marina or Callie and Marie. I'm sure they'll be around, but we don't know if there's going to be new characters, if they're just going to have the old ones again. We don't know. But that's the exciting thing. I am so glad that we have such a big game that we can speculate and talk about and know nothing about, but people will make thousands of videos on it. But the big thing is Nintendo really tried to do a competitive push for Splatoon 2, and I really hope they go all in with Splatoon 3. I really want them to do like big competitive leagues and not just slap it at the tail end of a Smash tourney. Like I want it to be its own thing. I want it to really cater to casual players, but those who want to compete and have teams, or maybe if you don't have a team, maybe you can be slapped onto a random team and compete that way. That's what I want to see. I want to see Nintendo continue that and continue working with the community to really make Splatoon 3 just this big game that it isn't necessarily run by the fans, but is oriented around what fans want. I think that would be really cool.
That is actually that's something I really want to. And it says a lot whenever even me as a spectator really wants something like that, because I wasn't really super competitive in Splatoon 2, but I believe it was for 2018 when Nintendo had first revealed, Smash Ultimate for the first time. I was part of the brand ambassadors at that time. They hosted this in this almost like a theater. I can't.
Oh wait, were you
I don't know how to
there?
describe it.
I was there too. The Smash
I
Invitational.
was. Yeah.
And they opened with Splatoon.
Yeah, they opened with the Splatoon 2 World Championships, and even just watching that was just so cool. Like, watching it, I was like, man, I want to go home and play Splatoon now. Yeah, it was such a cool event. So
yeah,
even
was awesome. I have that badge hanging out in my living room.
Yeah, it was such a fun event, and I think having a competitive scene like that would drive more people to the game, because, like I said, even I was just even watching it, right? And I was like, man, I just want to go home and play Splatoon right now. Even though I have Smash Ultimate in front of me, like within an hour of them showing it off to the world for the first time, I kind of feel like playing some Splatoon right now. So I think, yeah, that would definitely cater a little bit to spectators as well as competitive players. Just a lot of discussion around Splatoon 3 overall. I think that could do nothing but good.
Yeah, I agree. And, you know, I love... I mean, obviously I love Splatoon. I was also at the Splatoon 2 Invitational. I had the shirt and everything. And, you know, I didn't
just
really
all there. We didn't see it.
Well,
I know. Wait,
I mean,
I think I remember.
Were you in the
seeing-
VIP area? Like,
I was in the VIP
Okay,
area.
then we just passed each other. I don't know what to tell you then.
I mean, I think I
know.
probably met. I think I ran into you, Yoshiller. I like, it definitely did not run into you. This blows my mind.
Well,
Yeah.
what I will say though, I like competing. I compete in Smash Brothers and Pokemon, but I've never actually competed in Splatoon. I'm rank X and everything, but I couldn't get a team. So I guess what I secretly want is a way for a way to get on a team without having to be committed to the same 3 players. I want a team relationship without having to commit to the relationship. If that makes sense. That's what I want. I want to be able to play in these team-oriented matches. Yeah, you know, I want the setup that they have for ranked battles, but I don't want to have to.
Podcast.
Yeah, I basically just want to be able to
that is a good
compete more
point.
easily. That's all. That's what I want.
Yeah, I
Also,
get you.
I really do want them to make it easier for us to like group up with friends in that game because it was so much of a workaround. I hated it. During Splatfest, it was seamless, but then every other day, it's like I got to do so much to get in a game with my friends. And I didn't like that. So I hope they because that will make it a lot easier.
I think that's going to be really interesting is because especially now that everyone's like aware that Nintendo's finally moving their servers off of things that are apparently still checking for Windows 98, which, wow, you know, maybe the multiplayer will be able to have that functionality because like all the newer stuff that is on that newer server tech runs pretty well and the adding on to friends is pretty seamless. So maybe that is something that like, you know, the big stress test will probably end up being like Monster Hunter Rise, but like 3D World kind of was the start of it. Stress test will be with Monster Hunter, and then a lot of the bigger stuff will have that server integration, so you can easily do that.
Yeah, that'd be
I love
nice. And then
Splatoon.
like one thing that I sorely miss from Splatoon, like in Splatoon 2 that I sorely miss from other games is the ability to just autofill the rest of your group. So if I have like 2 people, I'd like to just be able to matchmake and fill up the rest of the group.
Yeah.
Right.
There's so many games that can do that. I'm surprised that doesn't have that ability.
Well, it
I
has
don't
it
know.
for Salmon Run. It doesn't have it for the main game or for the main multiplayer.
That
Yeah.
seems like a missed opportunity there.
Yeah,
Well, in
I don't
the
know. I mean, it's
original
clearly capable, but I
Splatoon-
don't know why it doesn't.
Yeah,
do
it was a
in the main
design
games.
choice. In the original Splatoon, team-oriented ranked battles were added later on, and you could do 2-player, 3-player, or 4-player.
Oh,
and
yeah.
if you did 2-player, it would pair you with another group of 2. And if you did 4-player, obviously you were set. But if you did 3-player, you were forever a group of 3. And instead, they kind of ditched that. And when they went to Splatoon 2, it was just a matter of you either play ranked battles by yourself or you play it with however many friends you've got, 3 or 4. And it did not autofill for that reason because you would be playing against someone else who also had a completely full team. That's why Salmon Run will autofill because it's
So
a team.
it was a
You're not against
design
another
choice.
team.
Huh.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was
It's
done
a-
intentionally.
it's
You don't have to
definitely-
agree with it, and I kind of don't agree with it either. I do agree
I
with
mean,
what you're
if that
saying.
was their choice, then that's a like, you know, I respect that choice. I don't know if that was the most effective choice, but if that was their choice, hey, that's their decision. That's, you know, then that's fine.
It really was just a matter of trying to simplify things. But the reason it works
Yeah.
in Salmon Run is
Commend them for
because
that.
that's exclusively co-op. You're not competing against an opposing team. You're just trying to survive. So that explains why
Gotcha.
Salmon Run functions the way it does.
Okay.
Yeah. As someone who plays a ton of competitive games, like there's different ways to matchmake, and that is definitely a matter of preference. And I guess that's just their way of like saying like this is what we prefer. Not everyone's gonna agree with it, and nor will everyone ever agree on one solid solution. But
I mean,
that makes more sense.
If it's streamlined stuff though, that's great because like you know the amount of times I've been playing Dead by Daylight with people, and it takes forever for us to find a group sometimes, like, is insane. So like, if what their choices are make that connection process easier, then cool.
Yeah. I mean, they also have the freedom with Splatoon, because they have the freedom to kind of cut, I don't know if this is a weird analogy, but cut it however they like it, because Splatoon just has such a large player base. So I don't really think they'll ever run into long queue times too often, unless you're playing at rank X like this guy over here, at like 5 in the morning or something.
I like tower control. What can I say?
At 5 in the morning, though, that's the prime time to do it.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, that makes more sense now that you explain it to me like that, Yoshiller.
Yeah, I like Splatoon.
Anybody else have any Splatoon thoughts before we move on? Okay.
One of the best IPs, man.
True.
Like it's aesthetically, musically. Yeah, there's a reason it's one of the big four in the Nintendo Tokyo store.
Yeah.
And now that there's 3 games, I feel safer calling it a series. Because when a game only has 2 games in its quote series, it's weird. I don't refer to it as a series. I just refer to it as the games. Like before Luigi's Mansion 3 came out, we all just said, "Oh, I love the Luigi's Mansion games." But now that there's 3, you can say, "Oh, I love the Luigi's Mansion series." It's just kind of like a stupid thing that doesn't matter, but I can feel better saying Splatoon is one of my favorite
That makes it official.
series.
Yeah, trilogies are official.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay, well, and anyway, to wrap things up for the day, we got to talk about the big announcements coming from Pokemon just this past week from Pokemon Presents. Starting off that presentation, we got a bit of a deeper dive into the world of new Pokemon Snap, which releases not too much longer from now in April. This game looks great. It feels like the more I see of it, the more I just want to sink my teeth into it. It's giving me some real classic Pokemon Snap vibes, in some ways with a few added features and improvements, which is not a bad thing at all. They even add some, social features into the mix too, which is, one of them is photo sharing, which I'm super, super excited about. But yeah, just overall, the game looks great. I am super excited, and just all the newer mechanics, like, I'm not sure what purpose they serve, like the little glowing thing. I'm not sure what that's all about, but I'm excited to learn more. And yeah, so anyone else thoughts?
Yeah.
I am so excited for Pokemon Snap because I love the first one so much.
It looks so good.
That's my most hyped game of the year is new Pokemon Snap. I'm hyped for Splatoon 3, but because that's next year, my most hyped game of the year is actually new Pokemon Snap. No joke.
Pokemon Snap's going to be really fun, and yeah, they need a photo sharing feature. They're literally, you would go to a kiosk with your cartridge and print out the photos.
And that Blockbuster.
Ship this game, at your local Blockbuster or your Hollywood Video or wherever you go for rental stuff. If they didn't ship a photo mode or a photo sharing mode, it would not have made sense. I was make it something that you can post to Instagram. Hello.
I feel like I'm going to get really stressed out looking at other people's pictures because I'm going to be mad that mine doesn't look that good. And so I'm just going to sit there constantly just edit and add things. And I know me. I'm going to get stressed out playing it, but I don't care. I'm still going to do it.
Yeah.
Touching on that Blockbuster Video thing real quick, I'm just saying how I'm thinking about how funny it's going to be with the younger generation being why do these old people keep talking about having to print out their photos from the last game?
What are VHSs?
Such a disconnect on Twitter. It'd be so funny.
Why? Wait, someone 3D printed the Microsoft Word save button?
That's so weird.
I hate that realization so much.
Man.
Yeah.
I do miss the novelty of printing out my Pokemon Snap photos. That was such a cool feeling.
Yeah, I never
got to do
it. It really was. Oh my gosh, it was so cool.
I never actually bought the original Pokemon Snap. I just rented it from Blockbuster 100 times, and I would just keep going back to it.
That's a viable strat back in the day.
So I never did much with renting because one time I rented a game and the cartridge destroyed my NES and we had to get a new one because apparently it was a dirty cartridge. And so so my NES I guess caught an STD from a cartridge or something.
Jeez.
So ever since then I was always super hesitant on renting games.
Oh dear, that was not here tonight.
Yeah, you don't know where that game's been.
I didn't do a lot of game renting from Blockbuster. I feel because I didn't have an N64 until after high school. So I had the PS2. I rented a lot of PS2 games from Blockbuster and Hollywood Video, but that was kind of it, I feel like. It was like, that was the only period that I rented games for, and like no other period.
Yeah, and I actually looked back, and while the original Pokemon Snap was super successful, like in Japan, it only launched at like number 4 for the week it came out, just because PS1 was so dominant, and now it's so different. This new Pokemon Snap, I just think it's going to be enormous.
I really hope so.
I think it will. I think a lot of people who like casually grew up playing Pokemon Snap are going to see that and be like, oh my god, wait, I remember this game. I should go play that.
Yeah.
And it's another one that people can just kind of play, like, kind of in a chill mode where they're just, hey, I've got some time to kill. I'm going to take some cute pictures.
Yeah, I think that's a really good
So it'll
thing
have
to
a lot of replayability.
I have a concern that a few other people have. I love Pokemon Snap so much that it's burned into my mind, and I can beat it in about 45 minutes consistently, which is not the world record time. The world record time is like 25 minutes, so I'm not too far away. But my concern is, if this game isn't big, because it's a Pokemon game, people are going to hate it. And I'm excited, and I'm okay if it's not super big, but I know a lot of people aren't going to be. Like, if there's only like 5 or 6 levels again, but the replayability is that you can go back through those levels and get a high score. People aren't going to like that. And that's my fear. But I'm going to get it because I'm a sucker, and I've been wanting a Pokemon Snap sequel since 1999, whenever it came out, when I was still learning how to read.
99.
Yeah, when I was still learning how to read. And I'm, it did get announced, and I was giddy all morning, and I'm still giddy now, and I'm going to play it, and I'm going to feel giddy, and then I'm going to beat it. I'm like, I'm going to do it again, and I'll still feel giddy, and I'm just really excited for new Pokemon Snap. Game of the year.
Me too,
I feel like they
yes.
announced it like so far in advance that it can't just be that short. Like, if they're
That's my
announcing
hope.
it that far in advance, they have reason to. Also, that gives you an ability
And they could
to
also do DLC.
DLC, maybe integration with Pokemon Home, because why not? I don't know.
I mean, what would the integration be? You don't catch Pokemon unless you're talking about catching them on film. Or
Maybe
digital
there's a weird
film.
mechanic that will do it. I don't know. They'll find some way.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're holding a lot of the environments back. Like, we've only seen like snippets of them. I think they're holding some stuff back.
Well, that's
yeah,
my
yeah,
that's
I
my
think so,
fear.
too.
I hope that's the case, and that we haven't already seen like half the game. That's my concern, because there's a lot of, like, if we're just talking about that beach level, they've shown like 50, 60 Pokemon in that beach level, and that's cool. But that's one level. We keep seeing the one level. We see the beach, and we see like a forest, and then there was like a canyon. And maybe there's one or two others, but I really hope that there's more, or that there's maybe there's something like the original Pokemon Snap where you blow up an electrode and it blows open a cave and you can go down there, but maybe that's part of the same level you're currently playing and it's just a branching path for that level. That's cool. There just really needs to be a lot for a lot of people to warrant that $60 price point.
Yeah, I understand that people are like so focused on the $60 price point because that's a lot of money for a lot of people. But like I think with Pokemon Snap, for me, if it's like really polished and if it's really it's a really satisfying gameplay experience that you can like actually revisit, I think it would be worth it, especially because, you know, the models and everything in the game, the animations, they look fantastic. It's probably like one of the best looking Pokemon games of all time because it's
it
so
really is.
it's so sculpted for a certain type of experience. Like you can't do that with a normal Pokemon game. And so I feel like, you know, a lot of people will be impressed with the art direction and the graphics and the animation in this game.
You're right, but it's also kind of cheating, right? Like, of course, the art style has to be good because you're on a scripted path and can only face a certain direction.
Yes.
So you're right. It's just like that's.
Yeah.
I do agree. If it didn't look as good as it did, people would be throwing a fit. Then they'd be like, "Oh, then I'm not getting it." So I guess you're right. The thing they have to focus on is the visual polish, and they've definitely succeeded in that department from what we've seen.
Yeah, and I think some of the animations in the trailers that we've seen are actually unique to that game as well. There's been some new ones that I don't think I've ever seen before. At least
They're
in like
absolutely unique.
Sword and Shield and like a couple other ones too.
Yeah, the Pokemon are actually moving around like they're wild animals.
Right.
Yeah.
They've got to be unique because they're Pokemon we haven't seen in other 3D environments outside of Sword and Shield. So like it seems kind of obvious to me that they would have to make new animations for something in New Pokemon Snap. But the question is whether or not the Pokemon will say their names or if they'll just do generic animal cries. Because that hasn't been.
Well, they're probably just gonna
seen
do
yet.
the cries, probably, if I had to guess.
It's,
We'll see.
I'd imagine it's a mix, kind of like it was in the original Snap.
Well, the
where,
original
like-
Snap was all names. The ones you thought were just generic cries
Oh,
were
was?
how they sounded in the Japanese anime. Yeah, some Pokemon don't
Oh, so did
get
they
translated.
like use the?
Well, some of the
so did
ones
they
that
use like the anime dubbing for like their voices and stuff. Then.
Yeah, that I don't know, because the original Pokemon Snap tied into the anime. There were episodes where Todd Snap just kind of
Oh,
showed
that
up.
explains it.
Oh.
yeah.
Oh,
this,
yeah, that's
This is
right.
his own thing, and I don't
Right,
know what they're gonna do. Like, I guess Pikachu will say his own name, and maybe Raichu and Pichu by proxy.
Well,
but I don't know
Pikachu's
if like,
gotta.
but I don't know if like Score Bunny's gonna be there, and if he's gonna go Score Bunny, or if he's gonna be like, like I don't know.
That was
Listen,
an
man.
amazing take.
Thank you,
Only-
thank you.
It'll ease a lot of people's fears about the game being $60 if at any point you get Guzzlord in the game just screaming bloody murder.
Screaming, yeah.
Oh yeah.
He's just like,
I love that clip so much.
That will forever be my mood.
Yeah.
Honestly.
I mean,
it's like
But,
a whole
um,
hypercut of a video of just like all the moments of Guzzlord in the anime, and it makes me laugh every time.
But one way that they could like really sell Pokemon Snap way more is if they tied an exclusive Pokemon to it, just like they did with the Pokemon Coliseum, I think.
That'd be cool.
Like how?
Yeah.
Like if they
like
were just like,
Shadow.
oh yeah, if we have like shiny Shadow Mew and you can only get them in New Pokemon Snap, I think
Oh, I mean,
that would do so
Yeah.
well.
I think. Yeah, I think there's
Okay.
going to be like an extensive mission mode in this game. We've seen kind of like
Yeah.
the hub lab area. I think that's kind of like how they're going to extend gameplay, where like the Professor Mirror is going to tell you, oh, he needs this Pokemon in this way, in this light or whatever. And there's just going to be probably over 100 missions to do. I think that's like where the length of the game is going to come from.
we're
Push,
also
you're
gonna
right.
be-
and I like that idea, and if that's how you want the Pokemon Home compatibility to come into play, that makes sense. The only reason I don't think they're going to do that is because the whole reason Pokemon Coliseum even had that was because that's how you got most of the Generation 2 Pokemon for your Generation 3 games, because they weren't backwards compatible. So if you wanted
like-
to get Ho-Oh, you had to get Coliseum, versus here, you can get Ho-Oh or a lot of legendaries and other Pokemon just by transferring them forward. That's no longer an issue. But I'd be in support of it if they did it.
They
I think
also
that'd be a
have-
cool mechanic too, because like Shadow Lugia was a thing in Coliseum,
Right,
in
yeah.
XD, for
Yeah,
example.
because of DX.
Like there's
right?
that neat glowing mechanic. Maybe that has something to do with like the Pokemon status too. That could be really neat.
There's also nothing stopping Pokemon Company from just doing special events every so often, like they've been doing with
That
Sword
would be
and Shield,
so tight.
or
I would
like
love
with
that.
literally every major
Yeah.
Nintendo property that's like got an online feature. It's like, here's a new event happening this weekend for this period only. You can get a shiny Pichu.
Yeah, I could definitely see them adding like legendary Pokemon for like different events, and like it's only limited time, and you'll be able to post a picture of you
Wait.
getting the legendary Pokemon.
That's such a cool idea.
But here's the
Yeah,
difference,
they could
though.
totally pull that.
They could. Here's the difference: is when back in the day, it was a big deal to catch a legendary Pokemon, and there were a lot of events that just didn't work out in Generation 4 because the Pokemon Company didn't have an easy way of distributing everything. People still talk about how the Arceus event was never released, and how the real way to get Manaphy was just to get it from Pokemon Ranger and stuff like that. A lot of those events didn't work out, and that's why, as time went on, the Pokemon Company kind of started doing less and less of them. Now it's just connect mystery gift to Wi-Fi and you'll get it, or subscribe to this newsletter and we'll give you a code. I don't know that they're gonna do limited time events in Pokemon games anymore just because of bad past experiences. I would love it so much, but there's no nice way of saying it. I don't think they care enough to do it.
As dicey as it was, I do miss the novelty of having those timed ones, because it felt like it felt like much more of a journey. Like the Eon ticket is probably my favorite event that
Oh my
Pokemon's ever
god,
done.
the Eon
Right.
ticket, or like the Victory ticket to get Victini in black. Oh my god, I remember being at my library for so long trying to get my DS to connect to
Those-
the internet just to get that goddamn thing.
Right.
Those
that's
were
that's my
so
point. I'm sorry to sound like wise guy here, but like you have those experiences with those games, right? They don't do that anymore. And that's why I don't
I
think they're going to do an
know,
event
it's
type
so
of thing
sad.
in New Pokemon Snap.
Dang, man.
I was gonna say really quick if you guys don't mind me chiming in. I have no emotional connection to Pokemon Snap. Point blank. Period. I didn't play it when it was back on the N64. Because I didn't really care about Pokemon until like literally Diamond. So this year is great for me because Sinnoh, so great.
Hey.
But
Yeah.
but in terms of this game, I honestly have been watching this gameplay trailer they dropped recently, like since you guys have been talking, and I'm looking at it. And what really gets me for this, because I was already kind of interested when I first saw the first debut trailer, like the teaser trailer, but this looks really good. And I'm drawn in now more than ever because, one, this is the Pokemon world, how I envision it being in a perfect Pokemon game, where the Pokemon are expressive, they're wild animals, they're interacting with their environments, they're just chilling. And this looks honestly magical to me, and I honestly am more into the idea of just like seeing how these creatures just act in the wild, and like it's because it's like you already get that vibe in the anime, because like that's one thing with like being a Pokemon fan, right? There's so many different ways you can get into it, and like the anime, I love seeing how Pokemon interact in that world, but this is probably like the closest where we can get to it in video game form. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to just seeing how this goes. And also, I love photo modes in video games, like Spider-Man, PS4, one of the best ones to do it. And also, I love this whole photo decks you can do, where it's like you can get them doing different like animations and stuff like that. Like, yeah, this looks really great. I'm really looking forward to getting my hands on this. And also, just Twitter's gonna blow up for like a week after this game drops.
Oh, you
So
know,
I'm
people are gonna go
100%.
wild with
I'm
the
so
photos.
hyped.
But that was Push's
Yeah.
point, right? Like, if there's anything to focus on with a game like this, it should be the visuals, and it does look gorgeous. And I'm
Mhm.
super happy about that. I'm so glad it looks as good as it does. I
Me
want it. I
too.
want the pretty Pokemon picture game. I just want it.
And I will say, David, if it's possible, I would definitely recommend playing the original as well, because even to this day, it's still a really pleasant experience. I think it's like $10 on the Wii U eShop, if it's still there, that is.
It should be.
So worth it. I love it. Okay, well, I think that's pretty much it for Pokemon Snap, so we'll go ahead and move on here.
Look, if
So-
there is an event Pokemon, I will eat my words because I was wrong about the other big
Oh,
Pokemon announcement.
Wait, that's one thing that I really wanted to say. Okay, so you guys ever have an idea that just like you love it, but at the same time you hate it because you know it'll never happen? So
All the
picture like Pokemon Snap having an in-game event for like the winter holidays or something, where you go on a winter trek and it's all snowy and you see all the winter Pokemon like Avalugg and a bunch of other ones like Beartic. Like, I think that could be really cool. Speaking of in-game events and stuff like that. Anyway, I just had to get that off my chest and record it so I can reference that later and make myself sad.
All right,
All right.
loop it.
In addition to the new Pokemon Snap stuff, we also got an official reveal of the long-awaited Sinnoh remakes of Diamond and Pearl. Now, let me go ahead and just get this out of the way first. Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl look fantastic. I'm not really one to be too much affected by a community's response to a game, but I knew the moment I saw the direction they were taking with these remakes that it was going to get some negative responses, which is a huge shame because I think this style is the perfect blend of just older 2D environments and more modern-looking 3D Pokemon. It reminds me, and I'm sure many others, maybe some in this call, of Link's Awakening and how that game's art style was handled. You know, it's cute and just so charming. And to top it off, you get those nicer 3D models during battle sequences anyway. So honestly, I'm just perplexed as to how someone can really look at this as anything but an extremely faithful interpretation of Diamond Pearl Platinum. Those are just my thoughts, though. What do you guys think? What's the temperature here?
Well, they get perplexed because they're Pokemon fans and they just don't like anything.
Gamers
I can see
don't know
players-
what they want.
Yep.
I can see players being mad
Period.
because it's a safe move, if anything. Because like
It is
we
safe,
had the
yeah.
Kanto remake, we had the Kanto game, and that was Let's Go, and it was a whole new art style. Which honestly, I don't know anyone who disliked the Let's Go art style. But the main thing people didn't like was the motion controls, which kind of linked in with Go in that regard. And it's like if that game didn't have that, I would have liked it. But also, I would have enjoyed having a Let's Go Sinnoh type of thing because honestly, I just didn't want to. I would have liked it, the Let's Go mechanic in any other region. But I guess a lot of people are just like, oh, I've had this experience from the top-down perspective already. I want something different. But honestly, like omnidirectional, like HD remake graphics, and plus, like you said, in battles, it looks more like a really like non-chibi, authentic Pokemon game.
Yeah.
And honestly, it looks cleaner than Sword and Shield in the battle sequences to me. So,
I mean, probably.
I'm
It's the
excited.
next one. So.
And then we also have like what they could do with the other modes that were in the game. Like I think they had contests in this one, and they also had the cave explorer thing or whatever that was.
Yeah.
The Sinnoh
that had
Underground.
multiplayer,
I believe it
didn't
was
it?
called.
Yeah.
Sinnoh Underground
the
had multiplayer,
Underground.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that had its own multiplayer mode too. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how they interpret that in this remake.
Yeah.
So there's a couple things that I'm really looking forward to seeing in HD get reimagined in this game. So.
I'm looking forward to getting Raffle Stomp by Cynthia in HD.
Yeah.
And that's another thing too, right? Diamond was my first Pokemon game that I finished, or at least rather I got to the end of the Pokemon League in, but I did not pay attention to the story when I played this on my DS when I was probably in like, when did this game come out? 2007?
2007.
Yeah, I did not give a crap about the story in 7th grade. So I'm now actually going to pay attention this time. So
I relate
maybe
to that
I'll have
on a
emotional
spiritual level.
attachment. Only thing I remember is I didn't evolve my Piplup until I got to like my last battle in the Pokemon League. So
Nice.
That's a
Piplup
power
was
move.
stomping people.
That's a power move.
Yeah, I mean, I think I think the great game looks great too. I mean, I think my major point of interest is how much, or if any, of the platinum content is going to be in these remakes. I think that's like my primary concern, if you will.
You know?
Yeah,
That
I
is
was
a
thinking
good
the same
point.
thing. Because Giratina
Well-
has an entire mini dungeon.
Yeah, I don't know if we're gonna get that. Look, I was completely wrong about the fact that there would be Diamond Pro remix. In our last conversation, I was like, no way, it's not gonna happen, not a chance.
I remember that.
We're
Roll
sooner
the
gonna get
clip.
Gen 9 or Sword and
And
Shield
we got
2. And yeah, look, and I was dead wrong. I'm happy that they exist. I think accessibility in remakes and ports is only a good thing, and I'm glad that so many people will be able to experience these games. But I share the same concern as Stealth, and Platinum. Believe it or not, Platinum has a lot more than just like, oh, a different legendary and a battle frontier. Like the order of the gyms you fight is completely different.
Yeah.
So I share the same concern. People were saying like, oh, well, this girl that's only in Platinum is shown in this overview shot in these Diamond and Pearl remakes. So I guess there's that, but it might do the same thing Heart Gold and Soul Silver did, where there's Crystal content, but it's individual game. Like it's not a Crystal remake; it's still a Gold and Silver remake that has elements of Crystal. But I don't think we're gonna get the Giratina world or we're gonna get any of the. I sadly don't think we're gonna get the battle.
Yeah, I want the battle
content,
frontier
but
so badly.
I will be more than happy to eat my words on that if we do get it. And if we do get it, I actually hope it has online co-op because I think the originals did. I might be wrong about that.
I think they did, actually. I think that you could do local co-op.
You know, the Battle Tower might have it at the very least. But yeah, that's what I want is more online co-op stuff. Or Sinnoh Underground online co-op or something. But we'll see.
Yeah.
I'm just really excited about it because I never played the original Diamond and Pearl or Platinum because that came out when I was in college and nonstop busy with doing theater all the time. So I never had any time to play any games that year. So I'm so excited to get the chance to finally play it, and I'm going to stream it. I'm going to wear a Dawn cosplay. I'm going to go all out with it.
Dawn
I cannot
Oh,
cosplay.
wait.
snap.
We stand.
Honestly, the trainers from Diamond and Pearl are like my favorite designs. Personally, like Dawn's one of my favorite female trainer designs, and I love
I
the
love her
males.
outfit.
The male trainer's hat and scarf.
Yeah.
Love it.
Maybe I'll do Amanda. Maybe we'll stream
Yeah.
it together. We'll play different versions. I will cosplay the male trainer. You cosplay Dawn, and we'll just like collab stream.
Okay.
That's such a missed opportunity. You need to cosplay
Yes.
Dawn, and you... I'm pointing, you guys can't see it. You need to cosplay Dawn, and you need to cosplay the boy, whatever his name is.
Is
It's
it
not Lucas,
Ethan?
is it? That might be Heart Gold Soul Silver. I don't remember.
No, I think Lucas is Diamond and Pearl.
All right. Well, you guys got to cosplay the opposite ones. I think that's a lot more...
I'm in.
I think one question that we should probably ask to get a gauge of the panel is what was everyone's starter for this gen, or what starter are we going to choose? Piplup's mine.
I'm going with Piplup. I love water types, but Piplup's so cute. I love him so
It's
much.
always Piplup.
I I feel like I chose Piplup when I did Platinum, because Platinum was my first game. I played Heart Gold Soul Silver, but then it went directly to Platinum. And that was what really got me, I think, hooked into the franchise for as long as as I have been, despite being bad at beating those games. Whoops.
So,
I will
for
say
me,
one-
I'm gonna.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
I was gonna make one comment on the art style thing. I feel like we were having the same conversation that we did with the Wind Waker, of like, we all want this art style that's super established and all this stuff, and then we get this and everyone's like, nobody asked for this, and then we'll look back in a couple years and be like, you know what, this art style looks better than Sword and Shield.
I've seen a post going around where somebody was like, "Hey, what if they had like outlines? Like, remember Smash 3DS where they had those like outlines on characters?"
Oh my god, that's right, yeah.
Someone's saying something like that would be pretty cool on those chibi art styles, and everyone's like, "Oh, so we like this now? Is that where we're at?"
That's where we're in the cycle.
Yeah, it'd be like that. For me personally, I think I'm just gonna go with I'm gonna feed my nostalgia beast for this one and do exactly like I did in 2007. I'm gonna go Chimchar, I'm gonna go Diamond, and just play through the adventure like that.
I love Chimchar aesthetically, but I always love water types, so I always pick Piplup. But I don't know anyone who chooses Turtwig, to be honest.
Piplup seems to be the popular one. Chimchar is the strategic one to pick because people who have played Generation 4 know that there are very few fire types you can get. So having one as your starter is a safe bet, and that's probably the one I'm going to pick.
And you know, now that I've had some time to mull it over, I think Yoshiller and Stealth's takes are kind of more to what we're probably going to be getting, in that for the Platinum content, I think it's going to be very cherry picked. So it's still going to be a Diamond game, but maybe some elements that don't really tweak the overall story of Diamond all too much, like some side characters and stuff like that, but nothing too much beyond that.
Yeah, we'll probably get Looker and like the extended Platinum decks, but we're probably not gonna get the big stuff like I mentioned, like the Giratina subplot or anything like that. Or like they'll probably still use their Diamond Pearl gym leader teams too. I know that those got reworked in Platinum and stuff. And
Maybe
they'll
they'll
probably
do
do the gym leader
expansion.
order of Diamond Pearl.
They could do an expansion that adds that stuff, too.
Maybe. But that's what we thought was going to happen with Oros, and it didn't happen. So I'm not getting my hopes up, but I would really like it.
At the very least, if we get Looker, I would consider that a win. Any other additional thoughts before we move on to the last topic of the day?
I was going to ask what everyone's like, you know, where everyone got their start with Pokemon, because I think David said it was Diamond. Like, mine was sort of Heart Gold, Soul Silver. What about the rest of y'all? Like, what was your start?
Red and blue.
Red and blue.
Yeah,
Red
blue.
taught me how to read English.
What was yours, Push?
Blue.
Oh wow, everyone was blue but Yoshiller.
Technically, mine was also blue because I have I got a Game Boy Color, and my dad got me Pokemon Blue. But I was like so young. I remember I was playing it and I was just button mashing through text. I didn't really pay attention to the text. So I was like really confused on what was going on. But I think Pokemon Diamond was the one where I actually consciously knew like what was happening, and that's why I enjoyed that one so much.
Yeah.
I still remember just
One
sitting in the
with
back
the
seat of
most
my parents' car playing Blue because I bought it at Best Buy, which was the closest one was like an hour away from where I lived because I lived in a little small town. And I just still remember just sitting in the back seat playing it on my old gray brick Game Boy because I didn't even have a Game Boy Color yet. And so I just played it on my like first gen Game Boy and got my first badge on the way home, and I was like, I'm a real Pokemon trainer. And I was like in middle school, like feeling like a real Pokemon trainer. I was like in 8th grade. I didn't care how old I was.
That's
was just,
fantastic.
like, my life changed.
Yeah, I think that's how old I was too. And like everyone was just sucked into that phenomenon of just watching the anime every morning, and then you had to have the game, and you would trade at lunch. I remember all of that.
Dude, Pokemon in the 90s and early 2000s just had a different energy to it.
Yeah.
See,
Like,
what's
you go to
funny-
school, everyone's talking about Pokemon, you see it on TV, you eat it for breakfast, like, it's just all over the place.
I was just the weird Pokemon obsessed kid because like the others didn't really play it as much, so I was just like alone.
I loved Pokemon. My thing is, I still have my original Pokemon Red cartridge, but when I was younger, I would always beat games and then reset them and start at the beginning. So I don't really have my original Pokemon anymore. But the last time I played it, a decade or so ago, I guess I played it and I didn't reset my cartridge that time, and now I refuse to do so because it's only got 2 Pokemon on it, a level 50 or 60 Seaking, and then a level 70 Charizard named Volcano Man. And I think I named him Volcano Man because when I was learning how to read, I knew how to spell volcano. And I'm like, volcanoes are fiery. I'll call him Volcano Man because that sounds cool. And that's what I did.
That is so cute.
That's canon. I love that.
And if you're just learning how to read and you can spell volcano, that's impressive.
Yeah, volcano.
Thank you. I didn't know how to do anything else. I didn't know how to do anything else, but I knew how to spell volcano. I was
as a kid, that's what's important. That's what's important. At the end of the day.
Yeah, true.
So now I'm trying to use games to teach me Japanese, and I'm getting there. Just maybe Animal Crossing wasn't the game to pick. Maybe I got to do these Diamond Pearl remakes or something.
Yeah.
As long as hey, it'll have a volcano.
There is a volcano, isn't there, where you get Heatran? All right, I'll try it.
Hey.
There you go.
Perfect.
All right. Rounding things off for Pokemon Presents and this discussion as a whole. Okay. Pokemon Legends Arceus. Arceus?
I
don't
say
know. I see people
Arceus.
pronounce it both ways. Yeah, I see it
Arceus
both.
just because I think I heard someone say it as Arceus, and that's how it ended
Arceus,
up.
yeah.
Arceus.
I think it's officially
Pokemon
Arceus.
Legends God.
This is a game that completely blindsided nearly everyone who was watching, myself included. And this game looks impressive. We didn't get too much info about this game other than the fact that it's based on an older version of the Sinnoh region of Diamond and Pearl. Looks aesthetically similar at some points to Samurai Cinema during fights and other cinematic scenes, and gives the player this vast open world to explore. This game, it feels like the Pokemon game a lot of us have been waiting for a long, long time. Open world, practically a new region, being that the setting is so unique in appearance, cinematic during battles. To be honest, other than overall performance, which could be a discussion in its own right, I don't think there's really anything about this preview or the trailer that I really had a problem with or worried me in any way. This is just the kind of energy I love seeing from Pokemon, and probably the biggest example of breaking the mold that we've seen from Game Freak in quite some time. Anyway, with all that said, I'm curious. What are everyone else's readings here? Good? Bad? Excited? Not excited?
This game made me use a word to describe Pokemon that I haven't used in a long time. Ambitious. And I was just
Yeah.
like, whoa.
Yeah.
You telling me we can die, bro? What? I can yeet Pokeballs whenever? What? Okay.
I do want to
here.
see more though. I kind of want to see more of that world. I want to see how they explain the mechanics. I want to see more of that gameplay because it is very
We need
different.
context.
Yeah, and I want that context, but also Rowlet's the starter. I'm in. I don't care about the rest. Rowlet's the
Oshawott,
starter.
and Cyndaquil.
I don't care about the
Out
rest.
of all the
I'm
water
getting
starters,
I'm Rowlet.
Oshawott.
Rowlet though.
I'll probably go with Cyndaquil this time, to be honest. I never go with fire starters, but out of all of them, I'll probably go with Cyndaquil.
Yeah, I think this game
Yeah, I
has.
think I'll probably do Cyndaquil
This
too.
game has a lot of potential. The animations though are very, very rough. It needs a lot of time in the oven, which it has a year or probably more. So I think it'll get there. But I think like potential is the word I'd use. Like in screenshots, the game looks absolutely beautiful. I want to know, is that the only town we're gonna have, that one hub area? Are there gonna be other people? What
Or other
has to
regions?
be,
Can we
right?
go into
Yeah.
the mountains? Like that kind of stuff. And one thing I do want to highlight, now that me and Stealth seem to be sort of on the same wavelength here, the current model of Switch, notice I say current, really in its current state seems to struggle a little bit just with the overall world and the scope of it all. I think this, and I know this is more recent too, and I don't want to dive too much into it because it's another conversation in its own right. This game and Breath of the Wild 2 are going to be the biggest excuses to expect a Switch Pro at some point.
The switcheroo!
At some point. The
Switcheroo!
switcheroo, dude, that comes back like we talked about last month. I think that will be like the biggest reason for me to believe that exists, and I think that game will be one of the big titles that'll help push it into like a worthy upgrade for a lot of people.
I think they will not put a Pokemon title as exclusive on Switch Pro. I think
I
it
don't
will,
think it would
what-
make it
whatever
exclusive, but I think they
Well,
would have like.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be exclusive. I think it'll be enhanced. So similar to PS4 and PS4 Pro.
I think maybe something like the Smash on 3DS versus Smash New 3DS is possible, or it just loads better. You know, it has I think that's definitely possible, but I don't know if they'll make it like anything like, you know, this feature is locked behind the Pro version for Pokemon.
Yeah,
they might
no way.
include like a special shiny Pokemon on the Pro version or something.
Yeah, I don't think they'll do that.
Bruh. I'd be
Yeah,
so
there's
mad.
been like a lot of discussion recently. Like even with Splatoon 3, like some people were saying this game looks kind of crispy, like a little too good for the Switch. Hold up. So there's like people having discussions now, because of news articles and also because things are popping up with timestamps of 2022. Everyone's starting to be like, yeah, we might get that new tech before the end of the calendar year. So I'm looking forward to it. Like I was saying in the previous episode, games are starting to get bigger and more ambitious, and the Switch is starting to chug a little bit. So I would not be surprised at all if that's the case.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. But anyway, like to kind of round out that thought, Pokemon Legends looks great. I just worry for the overall performance on the current model of Switch is all.
Yeah.
But then
I
again, it's like super early.
Completely
alpha,
agree
so who
with
knows?
Stealth that it looks like it needs a little bit more time in the oven, but right now it looks fantastic in screenshots and everything.
You guys think this might be like the first Pokemon game with like a delay? Because I could see like
it.
I think
because it seems
Yeah.
like they
Like a delayed
showed us
release?
this really
Yeah,
early.
I mean, I was shocked they committed to early 2022. They could have just said 2022 and everyone would have been fine with that, but they committed to early 2022, which means like before March to me.
yeah, which is less than a year from now, or like in about a year's time.
I mean,
So-
granted, if all they're doing is optimizations to make the performance and frame rates run better, that might be doable. But no, I could see a delay probably happening. I think Nintendo's also been very good at making sure, like, one of the reasons why they delayed Animal Crossing from November to March was to avoid crunch. I presume, as, you know, the Pokemon Company kind of follows that sort of lead, they want to avoid crunch, so they could possibly delay it for that reason as well. But it's hard to say. It's hard to say with this. I don't know, because I think, did they make it clear that it was still like a developmental build and was like not representative of what the final thing was going to look like? I feel like they did, right?
They have that classic game footage is not final.
Exactly. Which,
Pokemon is kind of different though because it relies like everything is so tied together with marketing and anime and everything that it's really hard for them to delay a game. I think
That is
because
true. Although
there's three
do you
companies
think there's
involved
really
with
going to be
making
an
Pokemon.
anime, like tie-ins
yeah.
and stuff that will?
Oh yeah.
They'll
I-
do something with it, yeah.
Actually,
'Cause
that's
this is a
something I
time
didn't
frame
even
we've never gone
consider.
to.
An anime for Legends Arceus, that would be insane.
Yeah, because they're actually dipping into like lore of like the past of this area and mixing regions maybe because I'm pretty sure like if we have 3 starters from 3 separate regions, I wouldn't be surprised if there's like some Pokemon in Legends Arceus that aren't usually in Sinnoh and like Diamond and Pearl, which would be actually really interesting too.
yeah,
So
I mean, what? Rowlet's from Gen 7, right?
7,
yeah, from Galar, which is probably on the other side of the Pokemon globe. I hope we also probably get more of a layout of how the Pokemon like world is laid out too. That'd be cool if they actually touched on that
Yeah.
Maybe.
because we have no actual world map like canonically. I think for Pokemon.
Well, that might be done intentionally so that they can leave the door open. Because if they give us a map, then it's like, oh, well, everything's charted now. We can't add any more regions. It's like, well...
I mean, the other thing is that they're also each region is also based on something. So, like, you've got, Japan, you've got New York for Gen 5, you've got the UK for Gen 8 for Sword and Shield. Like,
But
they
the
want to
issue you
give...
run
What's
into
Sinnoh
is
based on
with
Japan?
spin-off games that want to create their own regions. So, I don't think...
Yeah,
Right,
like they had to.
Mr.
Oh, there might be
enable
some-
on Snap.
While there might be some higher up at Nintendo or at the Pokemon Company that like keeps track of that, they're gonna mess something up, and fans are gonna go awry. They're gonna be like,
All
"You
the time,
forgot
but
the
worse.
you forgot the region for Pokemon Ranger. Where is that, huh? And stuff like that.
VP of Pokemon regions.
It's like the
So I
Zelda
think-
timeline, but worse.
I think they've specifically not created a big world map. They did for the first 4 generations because they were a lot more linked. But ever since they did Generation 5 onward, they've simply refused to give a grand world map of the Pokemon games just because they want to be able to expand on it forever. They don't want to have a line and say, all right, no more regions. We've done them all. Now you can only tell stories in these regions that exist.
Or like
That
have
makes
to add
sense.
planets or something like that. Like, oh,
Yeah.
this new region exists in space. That's why we didn't chart it before. It's
Oh,
it'd
that
get
makes
ridiculous.
Somewhere out there's an uncharted territory, a planet, if you will, of just Bidoof.
I mean,
Yes.
they're getting
And
into
I want to go there.
They're getting into parallel
preferred.
universes and stuff now with Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon. So who knows what's going to happen at this point?
I mean, I'm in.
Just Bidoof. Man, gosh, I feel like every conversation that has Push here, he says something and I just think about it because like it's so right. Like, I did not even consider the fact that Arceus could have like anime tie-ins and all this other stuff that Pokemon is very infamous for doing, and
I
that
mean,
is
why
actually a
not,
really
really?
good point. Yeah, that is a good point. Also, why not? So why wouldn't I expect that? And I don't know why I didn't, but
Yeah.
To push
that's
his
a really
point,
good point.
that might be why the Pokemon anime is what it is now, which is Pokemon Journeys.
That's true.
Before Pokemon
No, yeah, just the
Journeys,
whole world.
the Pokemon games were kind of the setting point for the anime. I mean, the anime would take place in the same region as the games, and obviously that would give a nice foundation for what the anime would do. But the anime would still take its own liberties. They definitely did for Generation 7, where it was about Ash going to school rather than, doing the same thing he did in the past of collecting Pokemon and getting badges. But he still did the Alola trials. He still competed in the Pokemon League. He still caught Pokemon that were new to that generation. But what winds up happening is whenever certain other Pokemon games come out, like Let's Go, there's usually episodes of the anime still dedicated to that. Like, they made a character get an Eevee that had specific hairstyles, and they went back to Kanto for a couple episodes. And I think the Pokemon Company just wants to be done with that. They don't want to have to keep saying, oh, well, these new Pokemon games are coming out. We have to do a tie-in. Like, oh, the Diamond and Pearl anime, we're doing Heart Gold Soul Silver remix. Here's 10 episodes focused on Lyra. Oh, X and Y anime. We have Oros coming out. Ash's new rival is going to use a Mega Sceptile. Like, that type of thing. So now that they're doing Pokemon Journeys, that
There's just gonna be a
makes it
rip
a
in
little
space
easier.
time, and they're just gonna go back in time.
Yeah.
Yeah. They'll either do that or they'll do a separate side anime like Pokemon Twilight Wings was for Sword and Shield.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
And they'll have that focus on what will basically be Pokemon Legends, I predict.
Oh, I
but
hope
it
so.
could tie
Man,
into
that
the
place
anime
is
still.
beautiful. Yeah.
So we'll see.
God.
But it does have to tie into the anime. Like, there will be some sort of animation promotion. But now that Pokemon Journeys is not focused on telling one specific type of story based on the game that came out alongside it, that gives them a little more room where if, let's say, Legends does get delayed, I don't think it will, but if it does, they can say, okay, then the episodes we had planned will just air in a different order or something like that.
I wonder if they did the current style because of the new game. Because like since it's doesn't exist in the current like timeline, like it exists way in the past. I wonder if they went with this like broader way, just as a way to kind of lead into that eventually.
Oh, maybe.
Like they have this stuff figured out 5 years, 10 years in advance for Pokemon
Right.
because there's just so much going into it. Like it's like
Yeah,
the
you
Marvel
kinda have to.
cinematic universe where they have a game plan.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe. It's hard to say with the Pokemon show now because it's so different now. But you might be onto something there. I wouldn't put it past them.
Do you guys think these new games are gonna have connectivity with Home and Sword and Shield at all?
Yeah, so that's what I don't know.
I feel like they need to. They're not gonna just like have a service that you subscribe to that's not gonna include that. That wouldn't make sense.
Well, let's
Yeah.
think about it because Pokemon Legends is a single-player game. There's no multiplayer. So
As far as we know so far.
it says it's single player. I mean, I guess they could announce
single player?
multiplayer
Okay.
later. They could do that. But like Diamond and Pearl remakes, they said there's multiplayer, but they did not say there was multiplayer for Pokemon Legends. So I get the feeling it is going to be single player only, and maybe you can catch Pokemon and transfer it to Pokemon Home. But I wonder if the opposite would be true at all, if you could transfer Pokemon from Sword and Shield and Let's Go into Pokemon Home, and then be able to use them in the Diamond Pearl remix or Pokemon Legends, I don't know.
They'll probably have to make very specific rules.
Probably.
Yeah, Pokemon's probably gonna have to do something for like Nationals next year, where it's like there's Pokemon VGC for Sword and Shield, and then another one for like Diamond and Pearl remakes, maybe or something.
Yeah, because when Oros came out, the VGC shifted to Oros. Like you had to get Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire if you wanted to keep competing. But we're in such a weird time now to where if they do these Diamond and Pearl remakes, and they don't include Pokemon from Generation 5 onward, or maybe they do include Pokemon, but it's a limited dex again, like Generation 8 was. Competing's gonna be weird, and maybe you're right. They'll do split VGC, so you can compete in Sword and Shield VGC or Diamond Pearl VGC, and I guess that's the best case scenario. But that's what makes me curious as a competitive player is what they're actually gonna do, because they're remaking an older generation again. How the rules are gonna work this time.
I mean, Sword and Shield feels like such a foundational game for VGC right now, and to see anything that would pull the current competitive player base away from that, I don't know how exactly that would work, because like obviously Sinnoh doesn't have Dynamax, it doesn't have Gigantamax, it doesn't have a lot of Pokemon from Sword and Shield in there either, so
we don't know if Mega Evolution's coming back or what. We can assume that Fairy types will be added, and that certain Pokemon will have different abilities, and that EV training's probably going to be the same as it was in Sword and Shield or something. But I don't know what they will include and what they won't, because so many things have been removed since then too, that the competitive side's only going to be more and more confusing if they choose to stick to Diamond and Pearl's rule set. But we'll see.
You know, this also doesn't even go to mention all the moves that have been removed since Diamond and Pearl, all the ones that have been added.
Oh yeah.
Like there's a lot of work on the back end that would have to happen to transfer it over to the Diamond and Pearl remakes.
That's a fantastic point, because one of the moves that got removed was Hidden Power. And that is the only move that the Pokemon Unknown can learn. And Unknown is in Pokemon Diamond and Pearl because you have to catch all of them if you want to use the ball capsules.
There's a freaking lot of them.
Yeah. If you want to use the ball capsules, if you want to use a specific letter, you have to get that letter Unknown. So Unknown's coming back, which means Hidden Power's probably coming back. We don't know if ball capsules are coming back, but I would love them if they did.
I would hope so. That'd be amazing.
So I guess old moves would have to come back, but then it still begs the question, are the new moves going to be included, or is this like a shot-for-shot remake of Diamond and Pearl? I don't know.
I don't know. We'll have to see.
I don't know. Yeah. I think Pokemon Home connectivity is likely, but yeah, the moves is like a big thing. I remember because I was building my team for Series 7 a couple months ago, and I was like, man, some of my older teams are just not going to work. So... Anyway, yeah, I think Pokemon Home connectivity is likely. Sword and Shield and competitive is just up in the air. We'll have to just see how Game Freak handles that, because that is a whole mess in its own right.
Yep.
All right. Anything else anybody would like to add here at the very, very end before we play ourselves out?
The Post Malone concert was weird. It should have been Hanson.
Yo, so
to be a fly on the wall
concert
of
was
that.
such a trip.
Here's a question: out of all the people Pokemon could have chosen, Post Malone, who made that call?
I kind of love it.
Hanson plays Pokemon. Zach Hanson plays Pokemon, so it should have been them.
Well, Post Malone's one of the biggest pop artists around right now. Yeah. It's just a marketing push.
Are they?
Yeah, Post Malone's on the Billboard Top 100 pretty consistently these days.
But
it's purely a marketing thing.
I really like the backgrounds they used. I thought those were great.
Vibing Umbreon,
the visuals
though.
were fantastic.
Vibing
Umbreon.
But also, him talking about sex, and then a Gyarados just flies over it. And I'm like, guys, remember, this went through the team. Pokemon Company had to approve this. What was that meaning like?
At some point, it had to have gone in front of Masuda's eyes, right?
Like, yeah, it
at
had
some
to.
point. Like, he watched it and he was like, yes, this is good.
This is what.
There's other artists working with Pokemon this year, like
Katy Perry.
There's a whole bunch of other.
Perry,
so I was like, they're probably gonna end up doing.
What's that one Latin artist's name? I can't remember.
Balvin something.
Oh, J Balvin. Yeah.
So I'm wondering if they're gonna do other showcases with other artists that are doing like Pokemon 25 mixes and stuff, and just like do more of those type of things. Because low-key, I'd honestly want to like maybe.
I'd be down. I'd watch it.
So, all right. I guess I'll just go over my thoughts about this, and we'll go ahead and wrap up here. But the Post Malone thing, Definitely really weird. Not the first artist I would have chosen to represent it, but I will say, the song is actually really well done. I do like the fact that they include the game, like the original game's soundtracks in there as well. It's sort of like a blend.
Did they? I couldn't tell.
It was slight, but they
Yeah,
did.
there's I think 2 town themes that are mixed into the pre-chorus, if I remember correctly, which is
I got
really
nothing.
cool. And if the rest of the album is done this way, to where it's like modern music with a little bit of game soundtrack blended in, I think this album is actually going to end up being really, really good, and not just like a bunch of big name artists performing songs. You know,
You will have to see.
We'll have to see. I do like this first
Yeah,
one
because
though.
they did their like Hootie and the Blowfish song. They did that one, and it had Ickertique City mixed in
Yeah.
with it, I think.
It's
And that
Eckerty.
was actually really neat.
Yeah. It sounded really
I
nice.
actually
so if the rest of them are like
I actually enjoyed the concert a lot more than I thought I would. You know, I think I would have liked it if they just had like either anime music or game music with those backgrounds. But for what it was rather interesting.
hmm Visually, it was so good. Oh my gosh, I love seeing all the different environments, just the Pokemon that are related to them, like the
Again.
fire one.
Vibing Umbreon.
Oh, that was so cool. Vibing Umbreon was also a big highlight. Umbreon's my favorite, so I was happy to see that.
I love Vibing Cat, so Vibing Umbreon. Let's go.
Okay. All right, and I think that's gonna do it for today's discussion. Unfortunately, Yo Schiller ran into some technical issues, so he had to dip out for this last part of the conversation. But for those of you that are still here, thank you so much for joining me today for this second episode, you guys. I really, really appreciate it. And to Yo Schiller, if he's listening to this part, I hope it's going well. I'm going to do my best to make sure that this podcast is run on a monthly basis. Obviously, this one was a little delayed, but that's okay. And it gets regularly updated over on Spotify and on Apple Podcasts. So you can listen to these discussions in whichever way you prefer. Anyway, we're pretty much at the end here, but before we go, I wanted to take a second to go around the table one last time and give each of you about 5 seconds to tell us about yourself and where our listeners can find you on the internet, starting with you, Mr. Alex.
Hi, I am the media director over at Zelda Universe. You can find out the Zelda Universe on Twitter. I also play video games poorly over at Luke_Starks. You can find me on Twitch and Twitter and Instagram and TikTok, because I post dance stuff on there now because I have a dance degree and I need to use it. Go follow me on the internet.
Ooh.
I'm gonna follow you
Go,
on TikTok.
David. Go, David.
I just want to say really quick, Alex. I've never heard anyone say Zelda Universe so fast 3 times. That was ridiculous. Props to that.
You know, I'm impressed that I did it without falling on my face because it happens a lot. So I'm going to take it in stride.
But my name is David. I'm the head of content over at Common RDW on both YouTube and Twitch. I do vlogs, podcasts, live streams, and all sorts of other gaming-related podcasts, geeky nerdy stuff. For geeky nerdy people, you can find me on Twitter at David RDW. That's DAVEED RDW. And then on TikTok and Instagram on the same name. And then you can find me on Twitch and YouTube under Conman RDW.
Nice. And Amanda.
You can find me on Zelda Universe TV on the YouTube channel. I host Zelda news each week. I'm also a streamer on the Zelda Universe TV Twitch page, as well as on my own, which is Panda Princessa, and you can follow me on Twitter at Amanda Van Heil.
Sweet. And Push.
I'm the PR and communications manager over at Q Games, and I also do content for Did You Know Gaming, and I co-host a podcast called Memory Card, which will be coming out starting this weekend. And I also
Congrats.
do post on my thank you. I also do daily posts on my account where I do mostly Smash Brothers facts multiple times a day. So go ahead and check that out at Push Dustin.
Nice. Mr. Stealth.
You can find me on Twitter at Stealth40k, where I talk about Nintendo and RPGs.
Sweet. And Yoshilla?
Hey, all right. Quick status update. I did salvage the recording. We're good.
Yay!
In my method of ridiculously, I thought, rather than trying to go easy on the computer, what if I just overload it so much that it has to save my file? And it did.
Good.
I unplugged a bunch of stuff, like a bunch of stuff unrelated, plugged it all back in, changed my audio hardware and everything until Adobe Audition freaked out so much that it was like, Hey, okay, we're listening now. So I got it.
Good.
So
That's a
I'm
five-head,
recording
big brain.
I'm recording a separate file, so I'll send this to you separately.
Sweet.
So I'll do like a clap here. So like, this is a different file. Just include this at the end of everyone else.
Okay.
All right, there you go.
Good.
My name is Yo Schiller. I go around conventions with a Yoshi hat, and I edit for a bunch of other YouTubers and my own channel where I play games every single day. Woo!
Including Animal Crossing. Oh my gosh, you're almost there.
Including Animal Crossing for an hour a day, among others.
Jeez. And with that, that concludes our discussion. So once again, if you're still watching or listening, thank you for making it this far, and I look forward to hearing you guys' thoughts in the comments below. We'll be back next month for some more discussion, but for now, there's only one thing left to say before we take off, and that is, of course, as always, I'm alecandstuff, and I will see you all again real soon.